Welcome back to the Charming Quote channel. Please subscribe, like, and share. Hello friends, in this video, we will present an inspiring quote from Stephen Covey. Please watch and think about it, hopefully it will inspire. Many people think in terms of either/or, either you're nice or you're tough. Win-win requires that you be both. It is a balancing act between courage and consideration. To go for win-win, you not only have to be empathic, but you also have to be confident. You not only have to be considerate and sensitive, you also have to be brave. To do that, to achieve that balance between courage and consideration, is the essence of real maturity and is fundamental to win-win. All things are created twice. There's a mental or first creation, and a physical or second creation to all things. Being proactive is more than taking initiative. It is recognizing that we are responsible for our own choices and have the freedom to choose based on principles and values rather than on moods or condition. Proactive people are agents of change and choose not to be victims, to be reactive, or to blame others. The essence of synergy is to value differences, to respect them, to build on strengths, to compensate for weaknesses. The personal power that comes from principle-centered living is the power of a self-aware, knowledgeable, proactive individual, unrestricted by the attitudes, behaviors, and actions of others or by many of the circumstances and environmental influences that limit other people. Communication is the most important skill in life. We spend most of our waking hours communicating. But consider this. You've spent years learning how to read and write, years learning how to speak. But what about listening? I define discipline as the ability to make plus keep promises and to honor commitments. You can't have the fruits without the roots. It's the principle of sequencing. Private victories precede public victories. Self-mastery and self-discipline are the foundation of good relationships with others. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. We're constantly making choices about the way we spend our time. The issue is not between the good and the bad, but between the good and the best. So often, the enemy of the best is the good. When you really listen to another person from their point of view, and reflect back to them that understanding, it's like giving them emotional oxygen. When your happiness comes primarily from the happiness of others, you know you have moved from a me experience to a we experience. And the whole problem-solving and opportunity-seizing process changes. The role of the leader is to foster mutual respect and build a complementary team where each strength is made productive and each weakness irrelevant. The only thing that endures over time is the law of the farm. You must prepare the ground, plant the seed, cultivate, and water if you expect to reap the harvest. The more people rationalize cheating, the more it becomes a culture of dishonesty. And that can become a vicious, downward cycle. Because suddenly, if everyone else is cheating, you feel a need to cheat, too. I believe that the habit of constant reading of good books and scholarly periodicals and magazines in many disciplines is vital to give a larger perspective, and to constantly sense the interdependent nature of life. Most people define greatness through wealth and popularity and position in the corner office. But what I call everyday greatness comes from character and contribution. The only person over whom you have direct and immediate control is yourself. The most important assets to develop, preserve and enhance, therefore, are your own capabilities. And no one can do it for you. You must cultivate the habit of leadership effectiveness for yourself, and doing so will be the single best investment you'll ever make. If we live out of our memory, we're tied to the past and to that which is finite. When we live out of our imagination, we're tied to that which is infinite. All things are created twice. There's a mental or first creation, and a physical or second creation of all things. You have to make sure that the blueprint, the first creation, is really what you want, that you've thought everything through. Then you put it into bricks and mortar. Each day you go to the construction shed and pull out the blueprint to get marching orders for the day. You begin with the end in mind. You can buy a person's hand, but you can't buy their heart. His heart is where his enthusiasm, his loyalty is. You can buy his back, but you can't buy his brain. That's where his creativity is, his ingenuity, his resourcefulness. It is extremely ironic that the more we care about what people think about us, the less we care about people. And the less we care about what people think about us, the more we begin to care for others. If you want to have a more pleasant, cooperative teenager, be a more understanding, empathic, consistent, loving parent. If you want to have more freedom, more latitude in your job, be a more responsible, a more helpful, a more contributing employee. Character grows in the soil of experience with the fertilization of example, the moisture of ambition, and the sunshine of satisfaction. Character cannot be purchased, bargained for, inherited, rented or imported from afar. It must be homegrown. Purely intellectual development without commensurate internal character development makes as much sense as putting a high-powered sports car in the hands of a teenager who is high on drugs. Yet all too often in the academic world, that's exactly what we do by not focusing on the character development of young people. When you show deep empathy toward others, their defensive energy goes down, and positive energy replaces it. That's when you can get more creative in solving problems. Employers and business leaders need people who can think for themselves, who can take initiative and be the solution to problems. If we can't make and keep commitments to ourselves as well as to others, our commitments become meaningless. Most people think of leadership as a position and therefore don't see themselves as leaders. Thank you for watching. Hope it inspires, and please subscribe and share.